I'm the Reformed Health Coach, and today I have a video about planking for you, about just kind of the component parts of it, some progressions and regressions you can do. This is Stevie, by the way. Everyone basically, as long as you can get on a floor, I mean, you could even do it on your bed, really, especially if you needed your knees to be in a softer position. Pretty much everyone could do some version of a plank, and so we're going to go through that now. So one of the first things I want to talk about as far as a plank goes has to do with the shoulder blades. So I'm going to turn sideways. So when I'm just in a natural position, my shoulder blades are relatively back like this, right? If I put my arms out, I can demonstrate if I retract my shoulder blades, I squeeze them back in together. That's retracted. And then I'm going to protract them. So I'm going to push them forward. So here's my natural position, retracted, squeezed together, and then protracted. They're pushed forward. So when they're in that pushed forward position, they go from being like this to like spreading out across your back, like that. Okay, so like that right there is my shoulder blade. It moves back, it protracts forward. So protracted shoulder position is really important for doing a proper plank. Another thing to mention before we get into actually doing the plank is the pelvis, the hips. So I'm going to talk about rolling your hips under. So trying to get the perspective here. So my natural position, I have a little bit more of a kind of a forward tilt to my hips, to my pelvis, and you want to roll that under. So you're kind of squeezing your butt, squeezing your abs, and so you can just practice that. You can do this on the floor as well. So this rolled under position, that's where I want to be, and that's going to prevent my low back from arching during the plank movement. So if I get into an all fours here position, this is what that same movement is going to look like. So this is kind of where I would naturally be. There's a little bit of an arch there. I can exaggerate that. So we don't want to be here. We don't want to be here. You want to tuck that under, right? So you're kind of using your abs a little bit to get there. In the all four position, you're not really using your glutes to do this. But if I'm in a full plank position, my glutes are going to be part of that movement. So now let's get into the actual plank. So 3 basic positions that we're going to go from. There's the tall plank, which is what I just did. That's when you're on your hands. The low plank or the elbow plank. So your forearms are on the ground. Shoulders are stacked over your elbows and your legs are extended. And then we have the all four. So no matter what level you are at, most people are going to be able to do some version of the all four position. And we'll get to some specific movements that are going to be more challenging than just being in this position, but they might be right for you if a full-on plank is too challenging for you at this time. I would much rather you use something easier really well than rather trying to challenge yourself to do something that you're not quite ready for and then using poor form and ultimately ending up doing more harm than good. Okay, so let's just talk about the component parts of the plank. So we're going to start with the low plank, so the forearm plank or the elbow plank, right? So I have my forearms. Some people like to be hands more kind of parallel to each other. I tend to bring them a little bit more like kind of a triangle, but your hands are going to be relaxed. Shoulders stacked over your elbows. Extend one leg out at a time. Tuck those hips under and tighten your belly like someone's going to punch you in the gut or you're trying to slip on some skinny jeans. And then look at my shoulders. My shoulders are protracted, right? So we don't want to squeeze them down together here. Push up. So you're pushing your elbows, pushing your arms into the ground and giving you that protracted shoulder blade position. And then ideally, I wouldn't be looking over to the side at camera. My neck would be in a nice neutral position, basically looking kind of between my hands. And I'm starting to shake a little bit. And there's really no benefit of going over like a minute-long plank. I one time, just to prove that I could, did a 5-minute plank, and it was torture. First of all, it was really boring. it was just really boring. 5 minutes is a really long time to just hold a plank. So I mean, you can practice 5-second holds, 15-second holds, 30-second holds, wherever you are, work your way up to a minute. There's really no benefit in going beyond a minute. If you're up to doing a minute, I would then add more movement and balance components, which we'll get into a little bit. Okay, and then from there, we have the tall plank. And this is basically the top of a push-up position. So basically all the same. The one thing that I would add is sometimes people have a hard time with their wrist because we're putting a lot of pressure onto the wrist in this extended position right here. If that bothers you, but you want to be in this position, what you can do is use your hand to kind of like grip the ground like you're gonna, you're trying to gather up the carpet or the ground in your hand, and that's going to activate the muscles of your forearm and provide more structure, more support for your wrists. You're not just cranking on that joint. Okay, so I'm going to kind of squeeze the ground with my hands. My shoulders and elbows are stacked over my wrist. Extend one leg at a time. Tuck that tailbone. Squeeze that belly in like you're going to take a punch or squeeze on some skinny jeans, and then protract those shoulders. So I'm pushing my body away from the ground, and that's keeping my shoulders in that nice open protracted position. And then my head is basically just looking straight ahead, about, I don't know, a foot or so in front of me. And that's your standard plank. Now, if you're not to the point where you can hold your body in either the low plank or the tall plank, I've got some moves for you on the all four position. So we're gonna get to where, again, your shoulders, your elbow, and wrist are nice and stacked. You're gonna want to keep your head, your neck neutral, your head looking about a foot or so in front of your hands, your knees below your hips. And what the focus here is going to be is on squeezing your abs. So again, we're going to push through the shoulders, okay? So your shoulders should feel some nice activation there. We're protracting the shoulder blades. And then we really want to just focus on squeezing your belly button towards your spine. So like there's a string back here. It's attached to my belly button, goes inside me, and someone is pulling it from above. So, I'm braced to take a punch. I'm squeezing on my skinny jeans. That's the position we want to be in. I was holding that whole time while I was talking. So you can just hold that position, hold that squeeze for, 3 seconds, 5 seconds, 10 seconds, whatever you can do. Don't forget to breathe while you're doing it. And then relax. You can sit back a little bit. Get back to it. Okay? So you're just going to make sure your upper body is nice and stacked. Your knees are under your hips. Push through your hands, nice protracted, and then just pull that belly button towards your spine. Okay, so that's the basic all four position, and that's going to be your precursor to being able to do a full plank. What you could do, if you wanted to challenge yourself a little bit more, kind of an intermediate between this and a full plank, would be just to extend one leg at a time. And if you do one leg, you'd want to switch and do the other leg. This is going to bring in the obliques a little bit more, the muscles that kind of go between your abs and your back, and provide that stability and rotation for you. And then ultimately, if you can, progress. You could even just go back and forth in between all fours and extending your legs back in a nice controlled fashion to get a little bit more challenge if you're not ready to hold a full plank yet. Okay, some more variations that we can do from the all four position would be to create some more instability. So we're gonna have to, if we move any of our limbs, basically we're gonna have to use more stabilization of our core muscles to keep us balanced and steady. So you can just lift one arm at a time. You can lift a leg back. Especially if you do the leg, you want to make sure that you're not like tipping over to the sides. You want to try to keep your hips nice and squared up. You're going to really feel this glute, that leg. You want to push your heel up toward the ceiling. Keep the abs tight, pushing through the arms. And then you would switch sides. And then if we want to move on from there, we can do an arm and a leg at the same time. So opposite. Angle myself maybe a little bit. So I'm going to extend my right arm and my left leg. So this is going to require a lot more stabilization and stability from my core, a little bit of coordination, okay? So I'm going to make sure that I have a good stable base, okay? Hips are under, my belly is tight, pushing through the ground with my arms, and I'm going to lift my right arm and extend my left leg, hold it for a couple seconds, slowly return back to the ground. Then I'm going to switch sides. Left arm and right leg out, hold it for a couple seconds, and come back. And the key to that is that even when you're in that less stable position, you want to still maintain that tightness in your core. Hey, buddy. Okay, and then we can advance one more time from that same movement. So we're going to do that same extended arm and leg, opposite arm and leg. We're going to add a tuck into this. So we're actually going to basically contract our abs with some movement. So I'm going to start with my right arm and my left leg. So I'm going to extend that out just like before, but now I'm going to add some movement to it. So I'm going to pull my right arm in and my left knee in and extend. So as I pull through, I'm crunching. I'm basically doing a crunch as I pull these in and then extend. So in this case, you wouldn't alternate. You do, 5, 10, 20, wherever you're at per side. So you want to extend nice and long, stretch your arm out as far as you can, stretch your leg out as far as you can, while keeping that nice tension in your abs the whole time, pushing through your supporting arm, and then crunch, squeeze, so that string that's pulling your belly button is really tugging now. Ugh. Squeeze, extend. Okay, on the other side, you do the same thing. So those are from the all four position. I want to thank you guys for watching today. There'll be more videos like this coming up. Let me know if this was helpful, if there's more information you want to know regarding planks, or if there are other exercises you would like me to get into like this. Thank you for watching. Remember, reform your lifestyle, reform your health.